Sports Day is brought to you by Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
We've got 19 teams coming in. Caitlin Rupp is defending state champion, the state record holder at Rimrock. She's also our course record holder from regionals last year. She actually has a high school teammate that broke her middle school records last year, so they're going to have a 1-2 punch.
This year's TCU is such a hard narrative because the playoff is typically confined to a handful of teams. Kansas State's interesting to me because a lot of the hype in the Big 12 is around Texas and their farewell tour, but Kansas State won the Big 12 last year.
Chris Jones is looking for upwards of $30 million a year, talking to people in Kansas City. They recognize that he probably deserves that. But navigating a market-setting deal is a complicated thing.
Russell Wilson will absolutely be benched this year. It's not a matter of if, but when, and here's why. Sean Payton is in year one. His job description is to win championships, not to make sure that Russell Wilson is a good player.
What I don't understand is how the NCAA, television networks, conferences, universities, and coaches can continue to pull in millions of dollars in revenue off the efforts of college student athletes across the country.
You ran a 9.83 meters a couple of weeks ago. You are going to be one of the favorites in the Olympics in Paris in 2024. Let that be what it is, bro. Congratulations. But you ain't got a clout chase by trying to attack the NBA.
Swinging a bouncer, tap toward first. And where's the pitcher? Hearn, he's late, and Palacios beats it out. That costs the Royals a run. Hayes is in to score. 4-0 Buccos.
He was there. He just went to cover third instead of first. Welcome to Sports Day on 1590 KVGB 95.5 FM, the talk of the town, Mayo Money Management Studios today. Welcome to the Tuesday program. Steve Webster, Aaron Clark, Mike Corson, and Mike Hesher in on the program today. Okay, coming up on the show, we will have Voice of the Cardinals. Cole Reif will be in. And it's game week. Cardinals, Heston Swathers. They hated Heston Swathers coming to Houston on Friday night. Barton Athletic Director Trevor Rolfs, Great Bend High School volleyball coach Shelley Duvall, and guest
Macy Noctegal
on Mike Corson Goes on the Prowl. That's coming up on the show today. We'll also have Tuesday sports headlines and sounds of the past 24 hours or so. Let's get it started. We've got a jam-packed show. I want to ask Trevor more than 2 questions today, so that we need to get going.
Keep it succinct.
Okay, succinct.
We'll keep the O-line analysis out of it today.
Please, because we know that it's running backs that make offensive linemen and not vice versa. Okay, fall sports is here. Great Bend High School cross country ready to get their season underway. This is going to be a great meet, Mike.
Yep, it's grown from, 4 or 5 teams several years ago to up to 19. The kicker, as Coach Lashley mentioned, Caitlin Roop from Salina Central, the state champion record holder at Lake Barton and Rimrock. The little freshman coming in broke all of her track records from middle school.
So are you going to chase her down too to get her little autograph in your book?
Yeah, I usually run ahead of them.
When you're covering meets?
I usually stay ahead of them, run it, and backpedal a little bit so I can take some photos. So I'll probably be chatting with her throughout.
Watch out, though, because you get over there in that grass, you could fall over backwards and land on a snapping turtle out there. It's nature preserve out at Lake Barton.
Mosquitoes, and snappers.
Ticks, mosquitoes, snapping turtles.
Take plenty of bug spray. I went out and tried to take a walk at Lake Barton this weekend. Got about 100 feet in, turned around.
Did you go into?
Yeah, they don't run in the lake. They run around.
Yeah, but there's the one
well, that'd be an interesting race, wouldn't it? Going through
be a triathlon.
Going back through them little hills and. But
things. No, even before I got actually into the wooded part, it was already atrocious with the mosquitoes. So my legs back.
Okay,
my knees.
So there's a warning to folks.
Yes, I was gonna say mosquito spray. Necessity on Thursday.
Yeah, that's gonna be great. Races begin at 9:30. The girls with the girls varsity race, followed by the varsity boys at 10. JV and C team races will follow. Then after a short break, middle school races will begin at 1 o'clock. So those mosquitoes are gonna have all kinds of things to chew on Friday. No, just where you're off.
I'm gonna buy a case of off and go out there and make some bank on all the people who came unprepared.
We can split it.
You're gonna have your red wagon pulling behind. Get you off! We got off right here.
45 deep, folks.
Right here. Okay, K-State opens its 128th season of football on Saturday. They'll host Southeast Missouri State, SEMO,
Redhawks,
at Bill Snyder Family Stadium. And college football analyst Bill Bender thinks something could be special, could be brewing in Manhattan. That's a 6:30 kickoff on ESPN Plus, the popular platform for college sports. And Jeff Darlington, clock is ticking on Chris Jones. Jonathan Finnegan jumps off the Empire State Building. Does that mean you jump off the Empire State Building too?
It's going to be interesting to see how the Chiefs defense responds. They didn't look great in preseason
They never
without
look
him.
great in
Exactly. That's what I was going to bring up. Especially just early season, I feel like Chiefs defenses generally kind of take a couple weeks to get going. But it'll be interesting to see how they respond to not having Chris Jones. He's been a huge factor in the middle of this defense for a while. And I'll see what defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo has up his sleeve to mitigate his loss.
Okay. Mike Tannenbaum. So let's go ahead and go out here. Okay, he says it's not a matter of if Russell Wilson will be benched this year, it's when. So
Do you think Russell Wilson just plays Taylor Swift on repeat? Haters gonna hate, hate, hate. Come on, man.
Is he going to shake it off?
He will.
I do.
So how can we gauge what? Okay,
we're not.
You say, okay, is he going to be successful? Well, if the team wins, that means he's successful. Do you think he's going to be benched for non-performance this year? I mean, for poor performance. Mike,
no, I think the reason they brought in Sean Payton was to fix the coaching issues of last year, and I'm not 100% convinced it was Russell Wilson's fault. He was successful in Seattle. So
this last year wasn't great in Seattle.
But he was also injured with a pretty significant finger injury.
Pete Carroll came in. I mean, the quarterback they brought. Who they bring in last year to replace Russell Wilson in Seattle?
Geno Smith.
And Geno Smith had a better year.
Smith had a very good year.
Okay, will Russell Wilson be benched this year for lack of production? Aaron Clark? Yes, no. Yes, no.
No. Not for lack of production. They'll blow out some teams. They'll get
okay, Tannenbaum's point is that his job is to win games, not fix Russell Wilson. I mean, you want to do it.
I don't think the Broncos have anyone that impressive behind Russell Wilson. I think if he did
he
get
scored
benched,
41 points with him on the bench the other night. So
that's true enough. Against the Rams, though, let's not act like it was against a team that has a lot of talent, even on their starting defense.
It was a battle of the backups.
Exactly.
I get it.
But I think.
Okay, no. Hesh?
Yes.
Take it easy, Chief.
But I'm still trying to figure out how Corson got Taylor Swift into a conversation in Sports Day.
Yeah, he's a genius. He's a genius. Okay, Jim Harbaugh opened his first Michigan football press conference of the season with nearly a 6-minute rant calling for more revenue sharing with players. He wants the NCAA, voices for the players and experts, to get into a room and figure out a better system of NIL, which is basically, that's gone by the wayside, is just paying players.
If it was this his stance before he got suspended, which I think he actually has been an advocate, which I'll give him a little bit more respect for, but if the rules were that 3 years ago, then he should have followed the rules 3 years ago.
I was going to say, I don't think it should absolve him of the wrongdoing, because obviously
I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about paying players.
They generate a lot of value for the school. They generate an awful lot of value for the school.
Interesting argument. If you take it to a salary cap at some point, you talk about another game changer. But other than that, how are you going to – they want it to be somewhat fair. How are you going to keep it fair if you've got some kids making $16 and
I think it goes back to what we were talking about yesterday with a tiered system in the college league. You have it set up by tiers.
But how are you going to set it up, though? Are you going to unionize the players?
If that's what it takes. I mean,
which would be a very interesting concept. The players then are unionized, which would mean they're employees of the school, correct? So how would you like to figure out your income tax? Because then you can figure out your tuition, your shoes, your free JAG that would have to be included on your income tax.
And I'm sure if you took the option of either having that stuff paid for or getting me properly compensated for the value that they're generating for the schools, it would come out.
That's what they do in the NFL. So you can take money or you just pay for your own school. I mean,
before all the schools started making money hand over fist back in the 80s when it was about getting kids an education, yeah, I'd agree with you. But now schools, it's become evident that it's about money for the schools. We've seen that in conference realignment. They're just chasing the money. So if it's that big of a money grab for the people at the top, we should share that with the people who are actually generating the money on the field. It doesn't make sense for the players to be the only ones not getting a share of it.
Then why have college sports?
And now why have the NCAA?
Why have college sports, Aaron?
It's the NCAA. Maybe
why have college sports?
Maybe we need to separate sports and institutions.
But it used to be.
I think so.
You could represent your state still. I'm not going to go pro, but I can go continue at the next level, represent my state or my neighboring state. That's all out the wayside for the top sports, but you've still got most of those kids are not going to go pro. That's why. If you're bringing in a gate, you're enjoying your college experience, cool, you get to be an athlete. But it seems like it's really only football and basketball that are
because if you put one rule in for everybody, so you're going to unionize the
there are
equestrian team. Oh, no, that's the other.
There are separate rules for football and basketball revenue sharing already. It's not like conferences are sharing that evenly with other sports. The football and basketball does get shared separately from sports already. There are already separate rules.
You're telling me that the football team's not helping to
they are,
fund
but they
the
are
other sports at the school.
They are, but they're still getting a healthy share of it for themselves.
And that's one reason NIL is maybe more fair, because I don't want to pay that guy. I want that guy to come represent my dealership. That's the guy I'm paying.
Well, that's what it was set up for.
It's tough. I mean, it's fair in one sense, but it is a team, so it's probably not fair that the 35th guy's getting 16
salary
bucks,
cap
but
would make sense. You want to pay this guy this much money, but who's going to negotiate that? College sports. The student athlete. Yes. You get to go to exotic places. You get your own tutors. You get free swag. Oh, and you get a college scholarship.
All while the university is making millions off of what you're doing that would easily cover all of that.
So you can fund other things. Oh, the poor college kids. Okay, Chris Canty on Canty and Carlin. Noah Lyles. I have to watch the NBA Finals, and they have a world champion on their heads. World champion of what? The United States? Lyles said Sunday, "Don't get me wrong, I love the U.S. at times, but that ain't the world. We're the world. We have almost every country out here fighting and thriving and putting a flag to show that they are represented. There ain't no flags in the NBA." Well, there's a lot of flags, really. I mean,
the players are pretty proud of where they come from generally in the NBA.
Right. So my thing is, you got the 11, or what is they got 10-man roster in the NBA. So you got the number 9 guy, plays 6 minutes a game, world champion. No, you're not, man. And you still, as the 9th guy, you're still making 30 times what this premier track athlete's making.
Should have played
So
basketball.
And he went mano-a-mano with the world's best and beat him.
Is your issue with that in like Olympics, like any team Olympic sport, like because like the Olympic basketball, there's a 10th guy on the roster who only plays 6 minutes. Is he not a world or gold medalist if his team wins a gold medal?
I don't even know if they tout the Olympics like that. We're gold medalists, but they really don't say world champions as much as American sports do. So the other side of that is, if you look at some of the European posts on that, it was like 98% for Lyles. If you look at ESPN's post, which is American media, it was 98% against him.
And I think he'd have more of a case if he was talking about football, because that is a uniquely American sport. But basketball is in the Olympics. Basketball, there's leagues in Germany, in Britain, in Slovenia, in France, in Italy. There's a lot of basketball leagues around the country. It's just the top basketball talent in the world ends up in the NBA.
So he singled out them, but 2015 World Baseball Champs, I don't know, did the Royals beat Japan? Did they beat Cuba? Did they beat Puerto Rico?
Well, and so That's fair, but with the NBA, I'm just saying it's a fraught point with the NBA. Like specifically, it seems like he's jealous of the attention that the NBA players are getting.
So I was with a basketball team that won a national championship. I'm not a national champion because I did not play?
Correct.
Wow.
Then why do I have 2 rings? I have 2 rings. I'm in the picture. But I'm not a national champion.
All of his contributions that he helped the team do, everything he helped the team accomplish.
That was there 2 hours before and 2 hours after practice. Yes, I think I'm a national champion.
I'm a national champion, too, because I announced the Fort Hays State Tigers winning it.
I got no problem with that either.
I'm a national champion. Oh, and by the way, our obligatory Royals cut, they got beat last night 5-0 by the Pirates. Okay. Sports headlines. Jalen Daniels, he's on the top of the depth chart, so we're keeping that secret from Missouri State. Let's see. The Chiefs today made an interesting move. Emir Smith-Marset, who's been outstanding in preseason, they traded him today to Carolina. Because that was going to be an interesting decision to see if the Chiefs cut him when that comes out this afternoon at 3 o'clock. I guess if they're thinking about cutting him, that's a pretty good move to get something back out of that. But, man, he was on the practice roster last year. He's a good player.
I think it really speaks to what Andy Reid has said about preseason in general. They're trying to get guys looks, even if it's not playing for Kansas City. They're trying to get them film, and it seems that's what they did. The Carolina Panthers liked what they saw in Emmitt Smith-Marset, and they traded for him.
If Clyde Edwards-Helaire is not cut today,
it might be a testament to what Andy Reid's trying to do this season, but I don't know.
I think maybe that's what they're trying to do. So that we've still got an hour and 15 minutes for you to make that move to get Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Okay, coming up, Cole Reif. We've got Trevor Rolfs. Man, we need to get moving here. It's Sports Day on KVGB.
Barton Community College is excited to announce the expansion of the welding program with an Associate of Applied Science degree and a 2-semester certificate. With our expanded offerings, you'll gain knowledge in welding techniques, safety procedures, blueprint reading, and more. Get hands-on training from Barton faculty with industry experience, ensuring you develop the skills needed to excel in your career. Now enrolling. Learn more at welding.bartoncccc.edu.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Amy Herrera, Regional Retail Manager for your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time and I've helped many people navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people. I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you how we're committed to serving you in our communities. At Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
Marmy Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the largest inventory of new Rams and Jeeps in central and western Kansas. Make this the summer event and come into Marmy's today and get a $10,000 rebate on a new 1500 Ram Laramie truck and save $7,000 on a new Grand Cherokee Limited demo. Lease a new Wrangler Hybrid demo and get a total of $13,000 off MSRP. Marmy's needs used vehicles and will give fair trade and allowance or just buy your old vehicle for cash. Visit marmys.net. Marmy's, make it happen.
He's the voice of Hoisington High School football, the Barton County Cougars, and the king of the tweeter machine. It's Cole Reif on Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
King of the X Machine, Cole Reif, joins us here on the program today. It's almost game time. Well, yeah, pull 3 over there. Because we had to give Aaron the ones that doesn't work as good because his voice is so loud. Then, okay, raise that mic up there so we see you on the screen.
Oh, my bad.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, you guys must have had a heated conversation in the previous segment. I went out to the main office to pick up my sheets, and Divis was fired up about something. Dakota was back there, with his typical folded arm look and just smiling and encouraging the conversation.
Well, Corson said that Hesh isn't a national champion.
Of what?
Of college basketball.
College basketball?
Hesh was the manager on those 2 championship teams back there.
Is that you?
Have you never have seen that big?
No? All right. Hey, nice.
So, but he told me I wasn't a national champion because I didn't play, I guess is my understanding.
You're not a national basketball champion.
I was on a team that won one. I did not play.
You're the manager, right?
Right.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, but I would put it, you were the manager on a national championship team.
And that's what I say. I just was,
Yeah,
but I also got 2 national championship rings, so heck with you.
Yeah, I mean, just like, hey, yeah, I won a national championship. It'd be like, oh, yeah, you played?
Oh, I would
No.
never say that.
Yeah, things in
yeah.
there. We throw little Noah Lyles in there just to get Corson fired up. And that's,
I liked it.
I bait this show, yeah.
Oh, you're doing a good job of
I've been-
spreading across the rest of the building.
I've got Aaron red-faced, and then he went after Corson, and then Corson just...
That's the point of the show, because I told Aaron that like when he first started. It's like nobody likes a show that everybody agrees on every subject.
I think there was a show that you and me actually, no one paused for 5 minutes because we both talked long enough that we're both, the other guy's got to stop pretty soon. We just went into a commercial break. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to overtop somebody. You don't want to go over the top too much. You don't want to bite somebody off. But, when you're arguing, that's just how you argue. You got to get your last word in.
Yeah. The red button has been effective, too. Okay, can we call Heston the hated Heston Swathers?
I mean, you can. I mean, I don't. From a Hoisington standpoint, obviously they clipped him in the playoffs in 2016, and it was one of those. That was the year Hunter Hansley got hurt. But they played well against Garden Plain the week before. Went out to Heston and lost by a couple touchdowns, and that was in the sub-state rounds. So that was a really good team that dropped to Heston. You lose a regular season game to start the season last year by a touchdown, 21-14. To me, they just haven't played enough in football. From a football standpoint, they haven't played enough.
The other sports too.
Other sports, sure. Yeah, if you want it. Because I always
compare another team like Heston rolling into town. Who would that team be?
As far as the hatred?
Well, just a team in general that comparative school.
I would say
I'd look like a private school.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say like a Wichita Collegiate when they came in, something like that.
Because it's kind of like, okay, well, they got everything they want, and they've got this fancy. That's the way I was looking at Heston.
Well, I was always told in the CKL, especially with Heston and Halstead, having a bigger rivalry than, most between those two schools, that, Heston was the pretty boy prep school, if you will, for a public, and then Halstead was just your farm boys that are going to go out there and punch you in the face.
I'd agree. Yeah. So, Heston, what about him this year?
I mean, obviously, Hudson Ferralis, he transferred over, so it's going to be his senior year at quarterback, but he transferred. He's going to play at Wichita Collegiate this year. That was the news that came out, I think, last spring. So that was, initially, you're like, man, that's a big blow. And it is a big blow. Ferralis is going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the state, regardless of, classification. But Reed Friesen's pretty good backup. I mean, he led their JV club, and he put up some impressive stats, and he's got that frame. He's like 6'5", close to 200 pounds. So he has that frame. He's a little bit more mechanical than Hudson Ferralis. It wasn't so much a cerebral thing for Hudson. Just kind of came naturally, and his arm accuracy was amazing. So that's going to be a little bit different. And I think you're going to see more of a balanced Heston team. They were very pass heavy with Ferralis last year. Friesen's going to throw it. They're still going to come out in the spread look, but they're going to have a little bit more run action. I would imagine it's going to be closer to 50-50 for this upcoming matchup. So I'm excited. I mean, as much as they, and Jake Proctor was an all-state guy, great basketball player, obviously, but he was also a Shrine Bowl football player. He's gone, but, they bring back Jackson Fry. They bring back 3 of their offensive linemen, a pretty good quarterback that's new at varsity but still has experience. So, and their defense should be really good again. So I think it's still going to be a solid team. I think Hoisington probably takes a step up and where they're at this time of the season going into beginning of year compared to what they have been the last couple of years with experience and just pure talent. So I think it should be a fun matchup for week 1.
Okay, from what you can tell, Hoisington healthy, ready to go and hit the ground running?
I think so. It's been a while since they've had one of those years where they didn't lose somebody in the preseason or the practices prior, or they lost somebody early on in the season. So it's been a while for that. So as of now, they're sitting pretty good. And, We got to see them out at the Jamboree last Friday. Looked solid. At times they looked very dominant. The two guys that are getting all the headlines during the offseason, Tony Moore, Caden Hoffman. And Hoffman, for me, he was a guy that when he came in his freshman year, Zach said, hey, this guy's got a chance to be one of the best players Hoistington has ever had. I was like, whoa. And then over the last 3 years, as you watch him grow up, I was just kind of waiting for him to be that true dominant guy. Because, like, his freshman year, he started at the end of the season, his freshman year, and he started ever since. And it wasn't that he's bad. He was always good. He's always been good. But it wasn't just like, man, that guy just stands out. And sometimes that's hard to track it for an offensive lineman. Like, okay, man, that's a good offensive lineman. Because you're not always paying attention to him all the time. But I was waiting for him to be that dominant guy. And then I think I caught glimpses, at least at the Jamboree, where, man, he looked dominant. And you say as much as you want about his offensive line prowess, but at nose guard, like, he's starting to get pushed. He's starting to get in the backfield a lot more. So if he can continue that, even if they're subbing him in and out at nose guard, I wouldn't expect him to get all the reps. But I mean, he's starting to be a force on that D-line as well. So,
one of those, Casey Seifert for Beloit would. You couldn't block him with two guys. Then he'd just roll through a double team and then plow through your fullback, and he was a house wrecker.
Yeah, his sons were the same way.
Yeah.
Or his son was the same way.
So that's what it's going to. Well, yeah, the son is. That's who I'm talking about.
Okay,
but Grady. But Mike wasn't, or Casey wasn't like that. He was pretty good, but can he be that kind of guy? They're just throwing guys out of the way to just.
I think you're gonna see him clear a lot of people. You're gonna see him clear some spots. Now, whether or not that play is going, nose guard, whether or not that play is coming up the gut, I don't know. But you're gonna see him being game planned around, I think, eventually. So, like, you could see it a little bit last year, but I think this year he's gonna start having some nice highlight pancakes and just leveling guys into the ground.
Well, he's a young kid. You come up and you're that big. I know he's strong, but you got a little baby fat on you, right?
Well, and there was some incentive, I guess. So he's lost some weight, which has helped a lot. Because he was at least billed at 330 last year, roster 330, and then this year's roster came out at 320. But he's actually probably closer to under 300 at this point. So maybe I don't know how much south he is of 300, but I think that just helps out a ton with just his movements on both sides of the ball. And I think there was some incentive. I was told that if he could maintain his weight under 300, there could be a potential goal line handoff that he might be able to get this year. So we'll see if that stays true. We'll see. That's just those are the rumors that are flying around that he might get a carry.
Pity those souls that have that coming. We see him coming in. Okay, broadcast gets underway 6:30, and it's going to be Cole Reif and
Jason Perry is going to be helping out. So I had to steal him over from the Great Bend side. He told me he was retired, and Aaron had recruited him. I was like, okay. I was just joking around. I was like, hey, if you get bored, come on and help out. So and then eventually, about a week ago, he's like, I'm kind of getting the itch. I was like, well, the Great Bend spot's gone. They got future Hall of Famer and Randy Wetzel coming in. So he's like, hey, I'll help out. I was like, yes, we will take you with open arms.
Okay. Looking forward to it, Cole. Thanks.
Should be fun.
Cole Reif voiced the Hoiston Cardinals. They open up against the Heston Swathers coming up on Friday night. Trevor Rolfson next.
Venture Corporation is a homegrown company with almost 50 years of experience in asphalt, paving, and construction. And they need equipment operators, mechanics, and CDL drivers. Venture offers many benefits, including 401k and Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance. Call Leslie for all the details. Work for a family-owned and family-oriented company that is here today and will be here in the future. Venture Corporation, South Highway 281, Great Bend, is an equal opportunity employer.
Smart stays on the road. That's why it's in your engine. Cenex Maxtron synthetic diesel engine oils give you the smartest oil for the toughest conditions. These premium oils maintain 80% of their viscosity throughout the drain interval for superior engine performance across extreme temperatures. That horizon looks good with the competition behind you. Cenex Maxtron diesel engine oils. Oil that runs smart.
Contact American Plains Co-op Fuel Department in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor today. When it comes to car maintenance, it's good to know a local guy that can get things done. The Eller family has been in the auto repair business in Great Bend forever. Greg Eller continues that long tradition of helping people. Eller Automotive Repair specializes in wheel alignments, oil changes, and general maintenance for all makes and models of cars and small trucks. Open 8 to 5 Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4 Fridays. Eller Automotive Repair at 915 Morton, right behind Great Bend Appliance, Furniture, and Sleep Source, 10th and Morton.
It's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
That's right. It's a Cougar Athletic Department, so it's kind of like, I've got Lamar Hunt in here right now. Hey, appreciate your support for Sports Day there, Trevor Rolfs.
You better believe it. You
Okay.
guys do a great job of
And we didn't guarantee you had to come on either.
Anybody
Okay.
know? I don't. It's not even a part of the contract that I get to be on whenever I want. I think we might have to change up some of that language next year.
Well, that will be if we come to become a 2-hour show.
Okay, yeah, you're right, because you cringe every time I come in here because you ask one question and 20 minutes later, we're out of time, folks.
I love when you come to the foundation meetings and they say, now we have a deadline.
Dr. Hyman does that when he asked me to speak on something at the trustee meetings, too. Now you have this many minutes.
Okay, season's underway. Let's talk about some of the teams. And I love the volleyball team. You have a new coach. We'll hopefully talk to her here in the next week or two. But they were picked next to last in the preseason poll. Well, that's kind of interesting. And now you tell me they're ranked, 19th in the country?
Checking in at number 19 nationally
Man,
in the first poll come out yesterday or day before.
Man, Jayhawk must be tough, man, with all these teams ranked above them, huh?
Yeah, it's I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, but preseason polls, conference preseason polls mean nothing. Our men's basketball team was picked 7th, I think, last year in the preseason poll, and we're one game out of winning the league. So, yeah, they mean virtually nothing. And Megan Bessiker, our new head volleyball coach, is doing an outstanding job and got a fresh new group of young ladies, and they're trying to, learn about each other and the coach and everything else. But so far, they're off to a great start. And for those that love volleyball, your number 19 team in the country opens up their home slate tomorrow night versus Garden City, 6:30.
Okay. Everybody's I always go to those media days. Everybody says, "Well, we're young."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, most teams are.
Yeah, if you're junior college, you're young usually.
It's nice when you have some.
Dodge City women's basketball team last year. I think they had 5 3-year gals on their
Okay,
top
well, that
8
was
rotation, but it was all the COVID stuff, So
that was the exception. And then when you have an experienced team back, then you've got the challenge of, okay, they're back for another year, and they're looking forward to where they're going to play the next year.
Yeah, and then and then meshing with the new guys.
Yes.
This young new guy, he didn't know anything, so you got to get him to mesh. People always used to ask me all the time, how are we going to be this year, when I coached, and they'll even ask his AD, how are we going to be this year? And I'm like, well, everybody in the league is going to have a certain amount of talent. Some's going to have a little more than others. Some's going to have more size. Some going to have more I said it really always boils down to leadership and chemistry. Is your team going to have a good leader on the court, and is your team going to mesh? Are you going to have good chemistry? And that, in a nutshell, as long as I can ever remember, was the big key to teams being good. Even if they were grossly talented, that didn't mean they were going to be very successful.
Yeah, Seward would always have 15 guys to start the year, and then they'd end up with a 7-man roster at the end of the year. But those guys were tough as junkyard dogs, man, that were playing. I talked to Jeremy Combs Saturday night at the foundation auction. Usually I don't see coaches come up to me and just,
he's beaming a little bit.
We're gonna be pretty good.
Yeah, he's usually pretty reserved. And Coach Clark and him both are pretty reserved, but. Yeah, I think he really likes his group. Of course, we got a nice core returning from last year's season, and we've added some really, really good pieces. So I know that Jeremy's pretty excited about this season.
Yeah, Coach Clark is too, because he said, "Man, we got this big girl. And so what? You get a 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, I got my eyes on her for the first time today, and just remember the name Vera. Okay,
Is she one of those one-name players like
she
Messi
should
or somebody
be.
like that?
We had Jenny. You couldn't hardly say her last name. the last 2 years, and she was an incredible player, obviously All-American. And I'm just telling you right now, I watched this young lady for 5 minutes and a little bit of, preseason drill stuff, and just remember the name, Vera. She's going to be a good one.
Okay, there you go. I like that. Vera's going to be a good one. Okay, start of the season is always a challenge. Kind of talk about what's going on out there right now, because you've already started with competition.
Yeah,
on the court, on the pitch, everything, and then trying to get students incorporated into going to school and everything else.
It's a whirlwind every year, from move-in weekend, which was the 11th and 12th this year, to Labor Day. Really, every year, those first 2 and 3 weeks is you're trying to get them all in, their housing situation, and get them comfortable, and getting them prepared for what they're here for, to go to class, and get an education, and the dotting the I's and crossing all the T's related to that. And then they've got all kinds of meetings they attend, obviously their team meetings, but, housing meetings and meetings with their advisors and all of those things. And you finally get through all that, and then the coaches are wanting to get their hands on them too while all that's going on. It's like I always talked about, it's Christmas in August, they want to open up all their new gifts and see what they've got. And the kids are chomping at the bit too. It's a new place, new team. Let's see who my teammates are and what we're going to be all about. And you kind of get through that, and then before you know it, a week and a half's gone. They've started class, and they're rolling there. And then, like you said, the competitions start, and setting up for home contests. And certainly, I work at a place, and you people are able to watch a place that has stood for excellence for a long, long time. So there's always expectations. When there's excellence, I call them the 2 E's. There's expectation, and that's always nice to see as an athletic director. Our men's and women's soccer team and volleyball; those are the 3 in action right now. We'll have a couple others play some, some fall scrimmages, obviously, and some preseason stuff for golf and sports like that. But right now, in the core of the start of their season is women's and men's soccer and volleyball. And women's soccer checked in at number 10 in the national rankings yesterday, and men's soccer at number 11, and volleyball at number 19. So, we're kind of spoiled here, Steve. We've got great coaches, we've got great programming, we've got great support, and the Barton Way is off and running for another year. But it's always there's a lot of challenge to getting all those I's dotted and T's crossed the first 3 weeks, to say the least.
Tell me about our new volleyball coach,
Megan Bessiker. Megan grew up in Liberal. While she was in Liberal, actually played at Garden City Community College, so her alma mater's coming to town tomorrow. But through her time in Liberal, she got very well connected with Thais Allen, who was the volleyball coach at Seward County Community College. And then Megan went on to coach at Emporia before reconnecting with Thais last year at Florida Southwestern as the assistant coach. And Florida Southwestern is the defending national champion in JCAA. So Thais has put herself in a number of good positions, but has been in a great culture as it relates to volleyball and recruiting and players and all of those kinds of things. And I'm just tickled to death that we have her here at Barton.
Okay. What do you want to tell Barton fans, Cougar fans, and potential Cougar fans about coming out and watching Barton in action this year in all sports?
Well, it's very inexpensive entertainment. Basketball is the only sport that we charge admissions for. And so really, if you're looking for anything and everything, if you're looking for something to do and you really like sports, we do have an amazing product out there, really across the board. I always use the term, the proof's in the pudding too. The folks that get our magazines that Todd and Brandon put together quarterly, and it's great entertainment. Our kids are fun to watch. Again, the excellence and the expectation that we have to be successful. But I think more importantly than that, Steve, I would be inviting people to come out and see a good product altogether. You've become friends and know a lot of my staff, and I give all of my staff the credit for the successes that we have. My head coaches and assistant coaches do a wonderful job. So our entire product is wonderful. And then, the fact that we are able to get out in the communities and, it's already, again, the proof's in the pudding. The men's basketball team, welcoming back the elementary students. Would they start all the days run together last Thursday, I guess it was. And so we're trying to do it right. We make mistakes along the way like everybody does in their daily lives, but we got a lot of people doing a lot of good things.
Okay, real quick on the fundraising end, any big announcements?
No big announcements. Progress is being made. Certainly not near as fast as I would like, but there's been a number of challenges, as everybody's aware, related to economics these days. But I do have a number of people who have committed, and we're just trying to continue to build on that. And I really hope, I use analogies all the time. I talk about a fish and a bobber. There's a lot of bobbers that have been kind of working back and forth on the top of that water, and there's been a few bobbers go under, I want to take the biggest bobber I can find and see that thing get yanked under the water. And so hopefully we'll have some more news specific to that new facilities project by the first of the year.
New sports?
No, curse yourself for saying that. We're at 23 now.
Todd and Brandon were telling me that they wanted more sports to cover.
Yeah, I'm sure they were. And now with all the live stream and the expectations of all the lives, first it was the social media and the Twitter and and now everybody expects everything to be live stream, and then they start expecting that, well, we don't have announcers for your live stream. They were really tickled and pleased that they could just see the game. And now if we don't have so it's just, we're living, everybody understands we're living in a world of what have you done for me lately. So those guys are crazy busy, and the answer to your question is no, we do not need any more sports at this time.
So you're not putting goalposts on the end of the field down there.
No, and a new soccer new carpet is definitely in the order.
It's soccer carpet. It's not football carpet.
Yeah, at Barton it's soccer carpet. But obviously, locally we've seen Great Bend, Larned, and Hoisington all three get a new surface for their turf field, and we're on year 14 for ours, and it's really starting to show.
14?
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't believe that Great Bend Hyde went 15 years with theirs. Because they say when we put that in, 10 or 12 years, but ours is it's held up pretty decent, like Great Bend High's had, but it's time. And, so the ultimate question is, to your point, is, well, when we put that new turf down, are we going to put more lines on it type of thing? So I would say doubtful.
Well, you've got to put more lines on just so you can know where to put the 5-yard segments of different colored carpets.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So football's not coming back.
I don't think so. I'm certainly not starting that.
Okay. All right.
Rumor.
Sorry, Todd. He's not budging on
shooting it down. And ultimately, Steve, that's not my decision. That's above my pay grade. Way above my pay grade.
Yeah, and I know what I was told at a particular meeting about when I brought that up too. So yeah. Okay. Trevor, thanks for coming in and kind of sharing the news, and we'll talk to you as we go throughout the year.
That sounds great. Thanks for having me.
Okay, Trevor Rawls, Barton Community College Athletic Director. We're going to talk Great Bend Panther volleyball coming up next. Shelley Duvall will be in-house. Stay with us.
From the Mayo Money Management Studios, 1590 KVGB, Great Bend, and 95.5 FM K238CK, Hoisington.
Barton Community College helped me get a jump start on college with early college opportunities. With Barton's help, I earned my degree at the same time I graduated from high school. You can take classes on campus, online, and even at your high school with teachers you already know. With tuition rates starting at $50 per credit hour for select Kansas high school audiences and scholarship opportunities, it is easier than ever. Barton Community College helped me get one step closer to my dream, and it can help you too. Learn more at highschool.bartonccc.edu.
If you need physical therapy, consider Advanced Therapy in Great Bend and Progressive Therapy in Larned and Hayes.
We had a lady that was having some severe back and hip pain, and we worked with her for about 6 to 7 weeks, and we were able to actually restore greater than 80% of her mobility, and we were able to keep her from actually needing that surgery for about 4 years.
You don't need to hurt. Physical therapy can help. Call Advanced or Progressive Therapy and Sports Medicine to explore your treatment options and get your life back.
At Next Tech Wireless, it's wireless on your terms. You pick a 36, 24, or 18-month agreement and get a device on us like the iPhone 14 or the new Google Pixel 7. Stuck in a contract with your current provider? Switch now and get up to $1,000 per line. For more details, stop by your nearest Next Tech Wireless location today or call or text our customer care team at 877-621-2600. Next Tech Wireless, home on the range.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Zach Stride, commercial lender for Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people. I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. At Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
Sports Day presents On the Prowl with Mike Corson, an inside look at all the sports taking place at Great Bend High School.
Welcome back to Sports Day, 1590 KVGB 95.5 FM.
Question. When you walk...
We don't answer that question. Joined today by Lady Panther volleyball coach Shelly Duvall and senior Macy Noctegal. How we doing, ladies? We're good. You guys had your, not a jamboree, but just a scrimmage, kind of an in-house thing last Thursday. How big for you, Macy, to get out there and kind of show people what you guys are about this year?
It was fun. We had a lot of people come and watch us, so that was good too. The whole entire football team there was there, so I think that was good too.
What do you think, Shelly? Just seeing them, I know you've seen them all year, but kind of more in a game setting.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we had our last kind of inter-squad scrimmage. We're going to go to the Jamboree style next year, so it's always nice to see the girls play against each other, get our 8th graders up there just to kind of get a taste of it. But we did. We pulled in a big crowd, and we saw some really good things come out of all of our teams. We definitely saw some things that we need to work on, but all in all, it was a great night to see so many Panther fans out there watching.
Macy, kind of a light on seniors last year, I think 3 of them. So one of the biggest group of returners this year is your back row. You're a big part of that. How strong are you guys going to be this year?
I feel like we're going to be really strong this year. In practice, we're doing a lot more passing drills, which is really good for us because we've always struggled as passers. But now that we have 3 seniors that have been there for 2 to 3 years, we know what we're doing this year. So we just need to come out and do it.
What's kind of the process there? I know dig the ball, but when you're all kind of that good and had so many digs last year, do you have zones, or were you determining who dives where so you don't crash heads?
So when they're blocking, like the middle back goes in between the block, the left side goes off the block, and then the right back just goes up to get the tip ball. So there is different zones that we have to get.
But it's all split second based on what you're kind of seeing at the net?
Yep.
Crazy. Libero, so you're going to Barton. I'm going to call it a Libero tradition with what Bailey Beck... Yeah.
Sydney
Unruh, both going to college. Mm-hmm. What is your role in that position this year?
Going to Barton or?
Just in that role, because it's kind of the unique role where you can bounce in and out.
Yeah. So I'll either go to Barton. She said that I will be a DS probably my first year and maybe a Libero my second year. So the DS is where you only play for like one person and you don't go in as much, but the Libero, you play the whole entire time.
Yeah, the liberos only come off the court maybe one rotation in order for the other person there's another person that serves for them. But ultimately, your liberos are the key to your back row. That's what begins your offense. And basically, they're the ones that are vocal. We're looking for them to talk to our hitters, tell them where their holes are. And, Macy's been doing it after Sid left her freshman year. She's been our starting libero, was second team all-WAC last year, looking for her first team this year. But she's an extremely good back row player, and she's a very good leader for our team.
And since I would say if you've had 3 of them in a row, is it something you can build, or is it just these kids come in with athleticism and maybe that experience before them that they're learning?
Well, obviously, your back row, you're not taking a 5'9" or 5'10" player and throwing them in the back row most of the time. Usually it's those that are a little bit lower to the ground can get across the floor a little bit quicker than others. But then they just kind of have this natural reaction to be able to read the ball quicker than others. And that's kind of what we see. You can kind of see it early on, especially for our defenders. And we've got 3 of them this year with her and Paige Thexton and Lauren Davis that are doing a great job back there. So I don't necessarily know that it's something that's trained, but I do think it's within them. And then we just kind of build on that each year.
We're talking to Lady Panther volleyball coach Shelly Duvall and senior Macy Noctegal. I think I brought it up last year, the overnight stays, bonding. What have you guys done this year now that you're a senior? This is your team. What are some of the things you've done to kind of make this your team?
Well, last Friday, or the night of the Jamboree, we went over to Sadie Spray's house and we played cards. We did bring your food of your color. A lot of times in like the hotels or at camps, we bring card games and we play that a lot, and we just sit there and talk.
What was your color?
My color was navy blue.
Oh, what kind of snacks did you bring for navy blue?
I brought caramel M&Ms.
Ooh, good idea.
Any crazy ones?
Kinsey brought like this fruit salad. That was kind of good.
Was she green?
She was yellow.
Yellow, okay. I was going to say, that makes sense
Peaches
for Premier.
and mango, okay.
Yes, definitely.
So you've had the scrimmage. Your next action is, 2 days out, going to Garden City to see WAC Conference, Garden City and Liberal. Expectations for that?
I think, they've all played this weekend. They all played a preseason tournament. We kind of wait on that. Some teams like to kind of pump up the first of their schedule, and I like to pull it a little bit back a little bit to where we're really peaking at the good time during the season. So most all of the WAC teams have played this weekend already, and so Gardens played, Liberals played, and we're just ready to get on the court and get after it.
Macy, for you guys were a few games over 500 last year, big senior class coming back. What does it take to get over that next step and become one of the powerhouses in 5A?
Well, I think our big thing is communication, and then at the end, our end goal is just to win WAC this year. We really want it.
Coach Duvall, Macy Noctegal, thank you for coming in. Good luck Thursday, and can't wait to see some results.
Thank you.
More Sports Day after this.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-587-5063. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-587-5063 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-587-5063 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-587-5063.
What day is it? It's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Brought to you by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
Welcome back. Sports Day here on 1590 KVGB, 95.5 FM. Man, the gang's all here. We haven't gone our separate ways.
Now,
Corson stick.
The Success Journal. Here's Chris Whitting.
Jesse was a farm boy from Kansas.
Well, he wanted me to answer some of his questions, and I didn't know what he was going to
Jesse
ask.
playing? What sports was Jesse playing while he was in Kansas? You think?
I wish I knew Jesse's girl.
That was weird. That was weird. Okay, anyway. Good interview.
This was very new to me last fall. So these coaches and kids probably got to see the worst of me. So I was up to my game this year with a couple seasons of experience. Hopefully it translates to radio.
Okay, I think it has.
A little more confident.
My son-in-law is a big Nebraska fan. Raised, Husker, Red, and things like that. Nebraska tight end Eric Gilbert has been arrested for suspicion of burglary after police received a report of a break-in a Lincoln store. He transferred from Georgia and was awaiting a ruling on his eligibility from the NCAA.
If I remember right, he started somewhere before Georgia too. Or I think he made another stop along the way before ending up in Nebraska. Very talented, physically talented young man, very gifted.
That's a good place to go. I mean, if you get Georgia rejects, okay?
And Georgia rejects are usually pretty good. Like, just because you're not good enough to make it at Georgia, but troubled keeping him off the field before and looking like that, maybe extending to Nebraska.
Kind of makes me want to go back to where he stopped in between and see if they have a rash of unsolved burglaries.
Being the former law enforcement.
We'll have our own little version of the Chiefsaholic. We'll crack the code on Eric Gilbert here.
Yeah, he was carrying bag containing stolen vape products, Delta 8, cigars, and lighters. That was what was in the bag.
It's hard to get sympathy. I was hoping more for like mac and cheese and.
I was gonna like.
Okay, I don't know if this is shooting something across the bow for Chris Jones, but the Chiefs have acquired defensive tackle Neil Farrell Jr. from the Raiders for a 6th-round pick. And, of course, that's coming just before the deadline for the cuts today. Farrell's 6'4", 325, had only 12 tackles and 2 quarterback hits in 9 games last year for the Raiders. But I don't know what that tells you. Maybe the Chiefs aren't as complex, or just saying, hey, we got this big guy in there that can stuff the run.
Could be, and it's interesting whenever you see an in-division trade.
In-division, exactly.
The Chiefs have seen him a lot. Steve Spagnuolo must have seen something that he thinks, hey, I can translate that into my my game plan for my defense. And like you said, maybe they're just trying to put another body there in case they do have to endure some of life without Chris Jones.
Okay, so we've got Mr. NFL in here. So far, the Chiefs have released only 4 names. So here you go. Joshua Kaindoh. Kaindoh.
Cornerback?
Defensive end. Defensive tackle, Phil Hoskins. Don't shake your head. I want to know the background on these guys.
Absent on Phil Haskins.
This is a little slow on the off the ground. Not a lot of movement in the hips, a little stiff.
Yeah. Safety, Dion Bush.
Couldn't anticipate the pass.
Just didn't have the vision to stay on the field.
Defensive lineman, Danny Shelton.
Danny Shelton actually started out his career with the Cleveland Browns, was a pretty high draft pick in the mid-2010s, I want to say. Was a really good run stopper there for a few years. Kind of interesting seeing him get axed out of there, but it makes sense that they're bringing in Neil Farrell.
High motor kid, just a little undersized.
So 2 defensive linemen that they shook with the first 2 of the first 4.
He's huge.
And then, yeah.
The cutting Kaindoh, though, opens up a little bit of opportunity at a defensive end. I'm interested to see if that means they have a little bit of extra confidence in Felix Anudike-Uzomah, just because they do have Charles Omenihu sitting out first couple of weeks with a suspension. So maybe the George Karlaftis and Felix Anudike-Uzomah show for the edge rushers.
Okay, and the Chiefs did make a trade earlier, trading Emir Smith-Marset to the Carolina Panthers in an exchange swap for a conditional 2025 7th-round picks.
I mean, the Panthers aren't expected to be too good this year, but how good can a 7th-round pick really be? But excited to see he'll probably get more looks in Carolina's offense than he would have in Kansas City's.
Okay, interesting moves today. The latest breaking headlines right here on Sports Day.
I'm stuck on the color party. I want to know the rainbow that was at the party, and I want to know all the foods. The volleyball team.
Oh.
They had to bring foods that match the colors, but they didn't go typical colors. That's crazy.
The things you worry about, my friend. Okay, tomorrow on the program, voice of Fort Hays State Tigers, Gerard Walbrock, will be in. On the prowl,
I believe we have Chewy, and I think he's going to bring in at least an athlete.
Okay, and we're trying to I think Mark Lentz from Keisha will be on the show tomorrow, too. Sports Day here on KV.